fat chance of getting them to watch it. All right. Did you say it? Sorry.
Can't give you a challenge.
Yeah, so opposite, hypotenuse, yeah, 1/2. Okay, Aiden, what is the cosine of 30? I think that's next, right? What would the cosine of 30 be, Aiden?
Square root of 3 over 2.
Correct. Now next one, tangent of 30? No. Well, can't use the calculator because they want the exact answer, which means like the square root answer, not the decimal answer. So tangent, actually, I lied. This one will come out anyway. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So which side, starting with the 30-degree angle, which side is opposite of that? 1. And which side is adjacent? Yeah, the square root of 3. So that is kind of the answer, but if you put that on the test, I couldn't give you full, or on the homework, I couldn't give you full credit because you can't leave the square root at the bottom. So square root of 3 over 3. So number 8 is the 45-degree angle, so you guys need this picture to do that one. And then number 9 is a 60-degree angle. So Archer, what is the sine of 60 degrees?
Sine of 60 degrees would be 1 over 3.
And Canyon, what's the cosine of 60 degrees?
That'd be 1 over 2.
And Carson, what's the tangent of 60 degrees?
Opposite adjacent. So that would be 1 over. Oh, am I looking at the? Oh, that would be square root of 3 over 1.
Yep, or
Just
square root of 3. Boom. Back to Trevor. We made the loop.
yeah.
Trevor's ecstatic about this opportunity. Okay, number 11, sine of 8. So use the calculator to find the measure of each angle to the nearest degree. What does to the nearest degree mean? Means round to the what place? No, the ones place. The nearest 1 degree. So rounding to the ones place. 0.7314. Alright, Trevor, do you remember how we use the calculator to solve this? For angle A?
I don't remember, no sir.
Okay, we have to, they gave us the ratio, like this is the opposite over adjacent stuff. We have to go backwards to find the angle. So we have to use sine inverse. Sine inverse on these. So this could be one of the easiest questions on the test because you just plug in the calculator. But you have to remember to find the angle, you have to use sine inverse. You have to remember what to plug in the calculator. Rounding it to the nearest
I got
degree.
47 point.
Round it to the nearest degree.
Yeah, so 47.
47 degrees. Okay, by the way, number 10, they give you the angle, sine of 39 degrees. It says round to 4 decimal places. So that's not sine inverse, that's just normal sine of 39 degrees. All right, have you guys plugged in anybody plugged in the second one for number 11 yet?
I have
What'd you get, Will?
28 degrees.
28?
Yep.
Okay.
Good
And
job, Will.
the third one? So tangent inverse of blah blah blah.
66 degrees.
66 degrees. Okay, 13. Solve each right triangle. Round to the nearest tenth. 18, 27C. They didn't give us any angles besides the right angle. Wait, how did they draw it? 18, 27. C. So this would be like angle A, angle B. I'll put that in the right spot. Okay, this is angle C. That's why this is side C, because it's cross front. Jasmine, you know how we can find side C? If we know two sides of a right triangle, how do we find the third? Pythagorean theorem. 18 squared plus 27 squared equals C squared. Jasmine, get a calculator. Why don't you plug in 18 squared plus 27 squared? Something large. Say again. 1,053. And then, yeah, that's what C squared is equal to, so then we need to take the square root of that.
Square root of 13.
Okay. Is your calculator not good? Well, if you don't have a good calculator, or if your calculator's in the wrong mode, has it done it before?
Yeah.
It has done it before?
It's a math one.
Okay, so side C is 9 squared of 13. So what are we missing on this triangle? Angles. So we got two of them, angle A, angle B. Well, how can I find angle A? Remember how this goes? Okay, relative to this angle, what two sides did we have here?
18.
Technically, we could use this one too, but let's use the simpler too. 18 and 27 are the what sides?
Adjacent and opposite.
So which tangent? Tangent of angle A should equal what?
27 over 18.
Opposite over adjacent. So this is like number 11 kind of. How do I go backwards and find the angle?
You can use that to decimal.
10 inverse. So, oh, maybe it did say use a decimal on this one, did it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Instructions tell us to, didn't it?
It did.
Oh, so?
Yeah, so we should have got a decimal. That's 32.
56.3.
Yes!
32.
Slay.
That one. 56.3?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Gracie, we could do like tangent of B is 18 over 27 and do tangent inverse. But do you know a little bit easier way to do it?
No.
Anybody else know an easier way to do angle B?
The angle minus.
Yeah.
A minus
90 minus angle A
Okay.
is also angle B. 90 minus 56.3 is 33.7. You could still use trig on it. You could do tangent inverse of 1827.
Special.
But if you know two angles in a triangle, you can find the third angle by just subtracting it from 180. Yes. All right. You guys are not going to like the end of this assignment.
We're not?
No, but I will help.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Actually, let's do a little quiz here. I want everybody to try this. I'm going to read the problem. I want you to try and draw what you think they're describing on number 15. Okay, you guys ready?
No.
A short wave, not everything is pertinent information. A shortwave radio antenna needs to have 3 support wires attached to the antenna 15 feet from its base. So maybe start a picture. The manufacturer requires the support wires to form at least a 35-degree angle with the antenna. If the antenna is to be installed on a flat roof, determine the minimum length for each support wire and the smallest distance from the base at which the wires can be attached to the roof.
Like
You guys have a picture?
I do like
I
from
basically have a
the point
triangle
that,
with 15 and
like the point the wire is touching the ground, like 15 feet from the pole, or would it be like 15 feet?
It says, wires attached to the antenna 15 feet from its base, so 15 feet from the wires attached to the antenna,
And how tall is the pole?
15 feet from the base. I don't know.
So I have a triangle.
You don't even know.
So I have a right triangle with the base being
Okay.
15.
There's my antenna. Sometimes they look like that or whatever. But the wire is attached 15 feet, and the wire goes out of 15 feet from the base of the antenna. And it meets the antenna at at least a 35-degree angle. And then here's the roof. Alright, that was the picture. There's 90-degree angle. The first question is, how long does the wire need to be? So which side of the triangle would represent the length of the wire? Hypotenuse. Call it C. Okay, the other question is, at least how far does I don't remember how they say it, wire need to be, let's read it. The smallest distance from the base at which the wire can be attached to the roof. So wire attached to the roof, how far away from the base? So let's call that like side B. Okay, Mari. I think I put an angle symbol there, I should put a feet symbol there. Mari, relative to this 35-degree angle right here, side C is the what side? Hypotenuse. Side B is the what? Across the street? Across the street? Opposite. Which trig function uses opposite and hypotenuse? Sine. So what should I write? Sine what? 35. Oh, sorry. My bad. I wasn't paying attention. We don't know B yet, so it's not going to be useful to have 2 variables. We have to use this side, not this side. So relative to this angle, what's this side called? Adjacent. So I guess we could do this one or this one. Let's do hypotenuse. So which trig function uses hypotenuse and adjacent? Cosine. Cosine of 35 equals what over what? Yes. And you guys remember how to solve this when C is on the bottom? Switch, yes. You switch those places. So C equals 15 divided by cosine of 35. And we're rounding to the 10th place, like usual. Did somebody get it?
Is that dividing factor?
Yeah. Did I get it? 18.3.
18.3.
feet, what's that, antenna, or, sorry, supporting wire, whatever it was. Montana, how could we solve for B, how far the wire is from the base of the antenna? How far it's attached. Anyway, how could we solve that for B? Relative to 35 degrees, we're looking for the what?
Opposite.
And we have the,
Adjacent.
and so we need to use
Sign. Oh, wait.
opposite adjacent.
Oh. Tangent.
Tangent. So tangent of 35 equals opposite over adjacent. Now how do we do it when the variable's on the top? When b's on the top? Multiply. Yeah, to solve by, divide by 15, you multiply by 15. Tangent 35 times 15 is
10 point.
great. Okay, we probably better do. To do 17, you actually have to have 16 because you need the angles before you can do the side. Do you guys know what shape number 16 is? Anybody know what that shape is called? Heptagon, yeah. Septa. Septa does mean 7, but not. We don't use it for polygons. What do we use septa for?
I'm guessing it's not a septic tank. That was an actual question.
Septic tank.
Oh, okay.
No.
That makes more sense.
I don't know what we use septa for actually. How do I know it's 7? I have no idea. Yeah, heptagon, 7 sides. So if you look at the first question on 16, it's asking for angle APB, which is a central angle. So how many of those central angles are in a heptagon? 7. So how do we find the measurement of one of those 7 angles? 360 divided by 7, because there's a full 360 in a circle. So if we want 1/7 of that, we have to do 360 divided by 7. And let's round to the 10th place again. It doesn't divide nicely. Say again. 51.4 degrees. Okay, so the big angle from there to there is 51.4. And then the next question is, what is this little angle? Angle MPB? How do we find the little angle right here?
It's half of the.
Yeah, it's half of the bigger angle. So 51.4 divided by 2, 25.7. What is, what's this line right here called? Apothem? Okay, we don't say this one very much, but does anybody know what this line is called? It's called a radius. Because if you draw a circle, if you circumscribe a circle around the heptagon, this would be a radius for the circle. Anyways, we use apothem a lot though, right? Because area formula for a... Alright, the third question is, how do I find this angle right here?
25.7 minus 9.
You're saying it backwards.
Yeah.
90 minus 25.7, because I have to add up to 180, right? 180 minus 90 is 90. 90 minus 25.7 is, let's see, 50 or 64.3. Okay. 17. Now we need those answers because we have to, on the next problem, we have to use those. 25.7. It says in the picture that the length of each side is 16. So I think the first question is, how long is this thing right here? So how long would that be? If the whole side is 16, this would just be 8. Half of that. Guys? Alright. And then I think the next question was the apothem, right? Isn't that where they plot them next?
Yeah.
Okay. Any ideas? How can we find...
The tangent of 64.3.
Right. Tangent of this angle would give us opposite over adjacent, right? Tangent of 64.3 equals opposite over adjacent. We could have used the 25.7 degree angle, but it doesn't matter. So how do I solve this for A? Multiplies tangent of 64.3 times 8. I need an answer on this one. 16.6. Okay. So I think C is the hypotenuse, the radius thing. So where did we leave off? You?
I think not. I'm thinking it was toward the left of the road.
One?
But that was an educated
I
guess.
just, it was me.
Oh, you? Jaden? How could I set this up to find C here?
I don't even know. I'm a little lost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you see the right triangle here, right?
Yeah.
Relative to this angle, what side am I looking for?
So, opposite hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is the big side, it's always across, it's always opposite the 90-degree angle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the side we're looking for, hypotenuse. What's the side we know?
What's the side we know?
Yeah. This one. Is the what?
Yeah.
Yes, adjacent. So which trig function uses hypotenuse and adjacent? It's also right there.
Cosine.
Cosine. So tell me what to write. Cosine what?
Cosine equals.
Mm.
Hold on.
Cosine of what? What comes before the equals?
The angle.
Angle. Equals what?
Adjacent. So 8 over 6.
Yep. And then what do we plug in the calculator? If C's on the bottom.
Cosine 64.3 times 8.
Nope. C and this switch places. So it's C equals 8 divided by cosine of 64.3.
Okay. 18.5.
18.5.
I got 18. 18.4.
Oh, 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
18.4. That's right.
Okay, now 18, I'm not going to do that one, but it says find the area of the heptagon.
Half times the upper times perimeter.
1/2 times apothem times perimeter. Which of those answers on number 17 was the apothem? Yeah, B. B was the apothem.
About it.
16.6 was the apothem. Alright, 1/2 apothem times perimeter is the area formula for a regular polygon. 19, this is gonna give us some pain here. So, we have some unknown polygon, but it says, N stands for the number of sides. And S stands for the length of each side. And they want us to write a formula for finding this angle on 19. My picture nice and pretty. So we kind of did something just like this a minute ago. But so you guys remember how we went about by find this angle right here? We started by finding the big angle. So how do I find a big, guys? How do I find a big central angle?
It divides by
Boys.
the number side. Divide 360 by the numbers.
Right. We divided 360 by 7.
Divided by n.
So it starts off as 360 divided by n. But that gives us this big angle, and they just asked for this littler angle. So what did we do? We divide by the 2. Okay, dividing by 2 is like multiplying by 1/2. Or in other words, it's like putting a 2 in the denominator. Dividing by 2 goes in the bottom. So it's 360 over 2n. Does that reduce any?
I was just testing you guys.
180 over n. Okay, that's what they wanted.
Are you gonna give us time or not?
On what?
We
Well,
have approximately 7 minutes left.
I was gonna go to 21.
Let's go 21 then. That is one.
Plus, we've done some evens already, right?
No.
Technically, yeah.
Technically.
Oh, what the?
Okay, 20 is much more challenging. Let's see. 20 says the length of the apothem.
You're probably going inside.
Okay, so yeah, to find the apothem, we did this a minute ago. To find the apothem, we basically use this angle, and then we did, well, this angle actually, and we did tangent of a over 8. Tangent of this angle equals a over 8. To find the apothem, you guys remember that? But you don't really have to find this angle, since we already have something for this angle, the 180 over n. We can do tangent of that to get 8 over a. Does that make sense? We just found a formula for this angle. So if we do tangent of that equals 8 over a, that will give us that angle. Tangent of this, which we just found, should equal this over this. Now, how did we find this guy right here? Half of one of the sides. And the sides they're calling s. So this would be like s over 2. A is what we're trying to solve for. So, and we called this angle on the last problem 180 over n. This one, it's pretty advanced math, guys, so don't get too discouraged on this. So, it's writing formulas. Tangent of this angle, so tangent of 180 over n is supposed to equal opposite over adjacent. You guys gonna be okay to sit together? Do I need to move you too? All right. And then let's see. What am I? Okay. How do we solve it for a right here? When the a's on the bottom, what do we usually do?
Switch to a.
Yeah, these two guys switch places. So a equals s over 2 divided by tangent of 180 over n. That's pretty much it, except for if you're dividing by 2, we could just put that 2 in the denominator basically. So it's pretty much, it's s over 2 times tangent of 180 over n. So that is a formula for the apothem. If you know how long each side is, if you know the number of sides in the polygon, this gives you an apothem. Okay, last question, also challenging. It says, find the area of the n-gon. So what was the area formula we talked about for number 18?
Half times apothem times per.
1/2 times apothem times per. Now, we just said the apothem was this thing right here.
Yeah, so
So that goes right
half
there.
times that times n.
Okay, how do we find the perimeter? We take the number of sides n times the length of each side, s. So n times s. That gives us the perimeter. And how do I simplify this? Well, a little bit. Put that over 1, and those go on top, and this 2 goes on bottom. So on top I have n times s, so ns squared. On the bottom I have 2 times 2 times tangent of 180 over n. Heck yeah, this is number 1 on the test.
Yay.
Huh? I'd shoot my dog if it
That it?
That's number 1.
Carson, you have problems.
What did the dog do?
Okay, now you can work on the evens.
Time to go bye-bye.
Yeah,
Oh.
Do an even. Don't just sit there.
But it's time to go.
No, get it out. Do problems.